NC pork, good for the plate, great for the state.
In today's world of college athletics, nothing comes easy. One decision can change everything. One conversation, one coaching change, one opportunity, or one that disappears overnight. This is the era of NIL money, the chaos of the transfer portal, and the constant grind of athletes fighting for a spot, a future, a voice. And in the middle of it all, stands Ven-Allen Lubin, a 4.0 student from Orlando, a 4-star recruit who could have gone anywhere, a player who's lived the full reality of the new system: Notre Dame, Vanderbilt, North Carolina, NC State. 4 schools, 4 years, 4 completely different worlds. Some people call it instability, others call it the new normal, but here we call it truth. Because behind every transfer announcement, behind every new uniform, there's a story nobody knows. A story of late-night decisions, of coaching changes that flip everything, of promises kept and promises broken, of kids trying to make grown-man choices in the spotlight of billion-dollar college sports. And walking beside Ven-Allen on this journey is a man who spent 36 years inside the machine: Mike Waddell. Former Division I athletic director, veteran of college athletics, pro sports, media, and brand building. He's seen the pressures, the politics, the power plays from the inside, the athlete who's living it, the administrator who's lived through it. Together, they break it all wide open. This is where the myths get shattered, where the truth hits harder than the headlines, where the stories you think you know finally get told the right way. No scripts, no PR filters, no corporate polish. Just the raw, unfiltered reality of what it means to chase a dream in the most volatile era college sports has ever seen. This is Court Vision, and episode 1 begins right now.
Okay, big fella, let's jump right in here on Court Vision and start out with the Ven-Allen Lubin origin story. Okay, let's start at the beginning. Back home in Orlando, what was life like for you growing up in Central Florida, and how did basketball first grab a hold of you?
Growing up in Florida was a great thing. Just knowing that it's been so prominent in basketball and just a lot of activities to do there in Florida. And I've just really been gifted to have the family and the parents to be able to, just be able to go out there and just explore a little bit of Orlando. Obviously, I grew up with 3 siblings, older brother, older sister, and a younger brother. They all grew up playing sports. We all just been playing, competing in the backyard and whatever, whatever it is. And that's kind of where, my love for basketball kind of grew into, especially with my older brother, since he first introduced me to it. And I really appreciate him for that because he took the time to, help me practice on my game, be there at my games when I was playing in rec league. And, he was just always been such a supportive figure for me growing up and until now. And so I just really value the time that in Florida and just being able to live in a household like that was just very competitive, very fun and enjoyable. And just to be able to be the man who I am today.
How old were you when you finally beat your big brother at basketball?
Oh man, I think it was probably my freshman year of high school. It's been a minute because I believe he stopped playing his high school senior year and senior year high school. I believe he wanted to continue playing, but God had other plans for him. And I think that first day in freshman year, I was able to overcome, all the beatings that I had before to finally get one win. And it kept rolling after that. And then, it's kind of just been back and forth since then.
So have you established yourself as the dominant Lubin brother because you were beaten up on by your big brother, and then you probably were given the too small signal to your little brother all those years? I mean, how has he managed to maintain any type of mental health when it comes to sports? Because I doubt that you have let him win too many games.
No, we did not. But it just built some toughness in him, that he didn't really quit. He always wanted to win, and it was just like the rest of us, we're all sore losers and we want to keep playing until we get a win. And that was just, who my little brother was. And I really, saw him grow up and just be able to, continue to play and continue to have fun with it. And that's where that was all about, in the backyard at, outdoor courts or YMCA, rec league. Like that's what that was about, just being able to compete, have fun, and then one day, beat the guy who was, on top of the mountain.
Well, you've been on top of the mountain. You continue to play very well now at NC State. And I guess one of the guys really responsible for your love of the game of basketball has to be your high school coach from Orlando Christian Prep. Tell me about Treig Burke and the impact that he's had on your life so far.
Yeah, Treig Burke, man, he's an amazing guy. He has really helped me develop myself on and off the court and really just establish uh, a principle in me when I was growing up and just being able to learn the ropes and just in life, because obviously basketball comes with a lot of life lessons, and he was always there to teach me, help me be coachable, and just put me in a position to be successful. He saw the potential I had coming out of middle school, and he really took the chance and really trying to develop me and take his time to really put me out there. And so for him to do that for me, like I didn't want to let him down, and I just really was grateful for him giving me the opportunity to play at his program, since it has a history of being such a winning program. Guys coming out of there being successful, going to D1 colleges, the dreams that I have coming out of middle school. And it was just something that he just always has been, just been a really great male figure for me, and just the things that he handles on and off the court, and just what he wants out of each and every one of his players.
And I think that's where you're really blessed because not only do you have your parents who are great foundational points for you and your siblings, but now also your high school basketball coach, Burke, there at Orlando Christian Prep. Let's go back 7 years, Ben, to when you were a junior in high school and you're starting this recruiting process and where you wanted to go, and you're a rising four-star recruit. You're a 4.0 student in the classroom. You're like everybody's dream that you want on the team, somebody who pays attention to the books and also to ball. So what was the plan that you and Coach Burke and the rest of Team Lubin put together to lead to where you would eventually make your initial college choice to leave Florida and go play in college?
Yeah, it's crazy that you say that, Mike, that it's been 7 years since I've had that experience. But yeah, I mean that plan was just to be able to have my faith in God and have my faith in the, people that I want placed around me in this decision. Obviously my family, Coach Trey, who was really knowledgeable of the game and, just college basketball. And just really want what was best for me, and just really want to know which program is going to fit me best, what's going to help me develop and grow as a man and as a player, and who's going to put me in the best position to play the next level. And it was not easy at all. It was definitely stressful. Just a lot of phone calls. Me trying to balance, finish out my junior year, and it was pretty stressful. And so for me, I was grateful to have Coach Trey to, be able to, take off some of that weight off of me, to be like, hey, I'll be able to handle the phone calls. I'll be able to, talk to those coaches if you want me to, if by any means necessary, that you be able to focus and continue to thrive in the classroom and on the court. And so that's what he did for me. And it actually really helped me to evaluate myself and what I really want out of, my high school career and what the programs would offer me to play at their programs and just to see their opportunities and just explore a little bit more.
Hey, Wolfpack Nation. You already know that when we talk about the great traditions of NC State athletics, Amedio's Italian restaurant is right at the heart of it. Since 1963, it's been the go-to spot for generations of Pack fans. The walls tell the story, the food seals the deal, and every visit feels like part of the family. Whether it's pre-game pasta, post-game celebrations, or just a night out on Western Boulevard, Amedio's delivers every single time. Great people, great plates, and pure NC State pride. Stop by Amedio's, a true Wolfpack original.
So this is the great thing about doing this show, Court Vision. We'll be here for 20 episodes here in the 2025-26 season. Our plan is not to follow each and every game of the North Carolina State Wolfpack, who you're playing with right now. We're going to tell the story, though, of the athlete in the NIL era. Then, man, when you were sitting back in Orange County, Florida, you were expecting to make that college choice and go and play somewhere for 4, maybe 5 years. Maybe you take a redshirt year, maybe you don't, but it was never your plan. You didn't go into this saying, hey, I want to move every year, because it's really not been your choice. So let's go back to that first choice. You choose on signing day as a high school senior to go play at the University of Notre Dame. And for a young person of faith like you to be able to go in that type of environment and play in a great coaching environment led up by Mike Bray, who was the Fighting Irish coach at the time, that had to be almost like a dream come true for you.
Yeah, absolutely, Mike. Just coming out and making that decision I was really confident with it. Just, a lot of thoughts and prayers and a lot of conversations with, my coaches and my family. It was really something that made me feel warm inside, and just to know like this is a great choice for me, and a place where I have conversations with Mike Bray and have a great feeling that he was the coach and the guy to help me develop and put me in the best position to be successful on and off the court. And I never had any regrets in it. And so I was really looking forward to, sustaining my career and, playing at Notre Dame for however long, for what God had plans for me to being able to be ready for the next level. And so I really, really appreciate him giving me the opportunity, and, him being so nice to my families and even coach, and just be able to show that, he can really take care of me. He's the guy that can really develop me. And here's why, all his, his resume and the guys that he has produced, the guys that, came out of his program and my position, and it's my play style. And I just really thought it fit well for me. And so that's why I chose them.
And Mike Bray is a great guy. You describe him in a lot of the interviews that I read as a noble person, but he didn't stick around for your second year of college. So here you are, you're going from high school ball in Florida to the Atlantic Coast Conference. You're playing at Notre Dame. And at what point in your freshman season there in South Bend did you start to get the feeling like Coach Bray might not be back for your sophomore campaign?
Yeah, I think it was kind of second half through the season. We weren't, it was a bit of a roller coaster. We weren't really winning a lot of games. We lost a lot of close ones. And, it seems like he was in a hot seat for a while on social media. And obviously I wasn't trying to get too involved into social media and, hear all the critics. And I know that was going to come. But I think during the second half of the season, you could tell that he, his level of attention and his level of just getting guys together was just a little faded, and obviously he still was high spirited. He wanted guys to continue to compete and, play hard and have fun. He just kind of backed off a little bit. And so I think it really spoke out to me when we played our first round in the ACC tournament against Virginia Tech. We lost to a close one. A lot of the guys, especially the older guys, were very upset. And my Coach Bray, came into the locker room, tried to cheer guys up, just say, it's been a great season. We know we could have done better, but hey, I have no regrets in being able to be you guys' coach, and I just wish you guys the best. And he pulled me and two other the freshman class who entered with me aside and told us, just don't leave yet. Just wait out and just see what the situation is going to look like before you guys go into the transfer portal and make a decision on leaving the program. And that's when I felt, the feeling that, he was not going to return for my sophomore year.
And so, what does that mean for you? Do you immediately call Coach Treig and say, hey, I don't know what I'm going to do? Because you were recruited to be a Mike Bray player. Now, Coach Shrewsbury is coming in, and you don't have any relationship with him. There's no loyalty there. It's not adversarial, I wouldn't think, but it's a business relationship. And I guess this was the first time that perhaps you're getting the inkling that this is not really basketball in its purest sense. It's a business.
For me, I think, I was able to learn, the key skill of just patience and just knowing just to wait out and see how the situation will look. So I know it was something that I never expected. Nobody ever expected, this moment to happen with their freshman year, coming into a program and now the coach leaves and now you're just stuck like what to do now. And that's kind of the sense I felt, and which was very stressful and overwhelming for me was how can I move forward with this? Do I go out to the transfer portal and look for, go to a different program that would best fit me and, do what's best for me? Or do I stick around and just stay with the program, because I'm very familiar with, South Bend, I'm very familiar with the campus and the culture, but I know the basketball program is going to be a little bit different. And that's why I had a lot of conversations with my Lord and Savior and just a lot of prayers. And that's when, he kind of spoke to me about just being patient, just, feel for about yourself. And that's when I was able to reach out to Coach Shrewsbury as soon as he touched down into South Bend and, met with him, had a conversation and, what he's want to bring into the program, what he's looking for, how he's going to build the culture around the program and what his message is for me and for me to align my values and my beliefs and, what I want out of it as well with him. And after the conversation, it was really good, but it was something that was just talking to me in my spirit that, maybe just go out there to Trevor and seek out what's best out there for you, but also just know that you can also come back. And so that was my decisions coming out of, that period of just, putting my name in the transfer portal, but also having, the opportunity and the will to wanting to come back.
So, what was the most important thing at that point? You've gone through your freshman season at Notre Dame. You have a new coach coming in. You could go out. You're in the portal. What was the number one thing that you were looking at to make a decision on whether or not you would remain a part of the Fighting Irish program or seek a new opportunity elsewhere?
It was the coach. I think it was just who was the coach of that program and what he has done to, be able to build the program up to being a winning program, get guys into the next level, and also just, help them become better men on and off the court. And I believe that that's what I felt when I got recruited by Vanderbilt with Coach Stackhouse being the head coach, and just knowing that he, was a former NBA player and he has experience of playing in the pros, playing in college, and also has experience of playing in the not playing but coaching and on all those levels was something that really spoke out to me just to be able to just play for him because I believe that he saw something within me within our visit and just know that he was able to continue to develop me, take some time with me as well to be the player that he knows I can become. And that spoke highly about him and, his vision for me. And it really aligned well. And that's when I just made a decision and just stepping out of, Notre Dame program and going to Vanderbilt.
Well, the one thing that immediately popped into my head whenever I saw that you had gone from Notre Dame to Vanderbilt is that you've gone from one great academic institution to another. And let's remind people, we said it very early in today's show, you're a great student. You were a 4.0 student in high school at Orlando Prep, and you were getting it done on the court, in the classroom. Now you're going from Notre Dame to Vanderbilt. We know about the basketball stuff that you're going to play for Jerry Stackhouse from Kinston, North Carolina, former Tar Heel, great longtime pro. But also now you have to worry about transferring credits from Notre Dame to Vanderbilt. Not a lot of people talk about that, but that's pretty hard, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's really critical for me because, as you said, I really value my academics as well because I believe it really helped me connect with people around the world and also just to be able to get my degree in education because that's something that will able to open a lot of doors when, I stop playing basketball and that's something that I just want to continue to hold and I value as much as I value my basketball game, my basketball career. And, for that moment, I didn't really know how that would work out because again, like I didn't, transfer to any other middle schools, any high schools, so I didn't know how the transfer credits really work out. I just was really just a loyal guy to the program, to the people around me, and just to know that I was able to grow and develop with, the people that I stuck with since, day one. And so with that shift and, that transition, it was really difficult to know that, there's some credits that may not transfer to the other program, which can hinder my time in graduation and also my degree. And so I had to figure out a different route in knowing that this program didn't have a sports management degree, which was something that I was getting into and wanted a degree on. And so now I had to find a different way in what degree and what path that I want to take for my education.
And so, what was your major at Vanderbilt? And then, what was that transition like? How quickly did you make the decision to go to Vandy? When did you show up in Nashville? And again, what was that transition like overall, going from Notre Dame to Vanderbilt?
So when I was in Notre Dame, I wanted to be I was really focused on three departments, which was communication, business, and sports management. I was in business at Notre Dame, and I really struggled there because their business program is no joke, and it really pushed me to really spend more time in the books and really learn all the formulas and equations that comes with the business aspect of it. And now for Vanderbilt, I went into human and organizational development, which was kind of a different branch to communication, networking, learning about different humans and organizations to how to, being able to read people, being able to interact with different people in different environments and, how to respond as well. And that was a path that I took at Vanderbilt and, sticking with, my goals and dreams on the basketball aspect of just continuously to grow and continue to be a better athlete, continue to keep my body healthy and be in the books of taking my time and the transition of coming from a business approach to now a human and organizational development approach.
And what about the basketball approach? You go from Mike Bray, who's a pretty fun-loving guy that has that intense streak in him. You go to Stackhouse, and man, Stackhouse is no joke. Not a lot of smiles in Jerry Stackhouse right there. It's the ultimate competitor. He has that assassin's stare and always comes dressed to the nines when he comes, a tribute to his mother and how he grew up there in Kinston in the shadow of North Carolina's proud tobacco past. But Kinston's no joke. Jerry Stackhouse is an intense guy. What was it like playing for the former Tar Heel?
Coach Stackhouse, yeah, he was just a very fierce competitor. He's just a guy that he can smile with you, crack jokes with you on and off the court. But when it comes, with playing basketball, being the aggressor, like he's always gonna be the aggressor. He's gonna be the one that's gonna be talking the most trash, and he's gonna show you. And just the way he approached every day was something that I really admire. The way he keeps himself, professional, and the way he suits up during game days and just the way he approached every day. He was very, um, he wasn't as no like he wasn't too like I'll say nice as Coach Bray because obviously for him he wants the best out of everybody. I think his way of doing that is just to be more aggressive of just being able to just bring the best out of you in his own ways, and it really did help. I really see that not always being a nice guy is going to bring the best out of you. Sometimes you have to be a little bit mean. Sometimes you have to be a little bit nasty in order to bring, the beast out of you. And that's something that he did to each and every which players that year, especially for me.
And Stack had to be excited to get you because you had a pretty good stat season at Notre Dame in your first collegiate campaign. But then, man, when you go from the ACC to the SEC, Man, 25-11 against the Gators, 21-10 against the Hogs. The first Vanderbilt player in 20 years, Ven-Allen Lubin, with back-to-back 2010 nights. Did that feel like you were starting to hit your stride, that after all of the challenges of getting to Notre Dame and then getting to Nashville, that finally here at Vanderbilt as a second-year collegiate, you're starting to really find your way on the court?
It took me a bit to really adapt to the situation and knowing what the coaches was looking for because we had two senior guards who were the spotlight of the team of how well they performed the previous season, Tyron Lawrence and Ezra Mignon. And so I just kind of thought coach was really focused on those guys and just wanted to develop them, build them, put the team center around them, and that kind of left me more of like a role player. And I was just trying to find my way into how can I develop myself and continue to impact the team and contribute to winning because that's all I really focused on. It wasn't really about points, my stats. It was just like how can I make the most out of every game whenever I step on the floor, and how can I contribute and make an impact on the floor to help my team win. And that was it. As soon as I started clicking with being able to guard and be the aggressor, I just kind of just found a flow in the game to where I can be able to score and to be aggressive on both ends of the floor on the rebounding and just scoring the ball. And then that's when my teammates and coach really trusted me to put the ball in my hands and just go out there and make a play.
Every great team has a winning playbook, and every great meal, it starts with North Carolina pork. Bacon for the early tip breakfast, pulled pork at the arena. That's how you win the day. Behind every bite, NC pig farmers fuel more than $10 billion in economic impact statewide. Great teams execute. Great meals deliver. North Carolina pork. Game on, grill on. Learn more at ncpork.org.
Groundhog Day is right after my birthday. It's every year on February 2nd. And I would think about this time, about that February time point in your second collegiate season at Vanderbilt, you're starting to feel like it's Groundhog Day again, not because the little furry guy's coming out of the hole up there in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, but because now Jerry Stackhouse is in trouble. You're starting to hear that on social media. And at what point did you sit back in your room late at night by yourself as you have your thoughts, you're doing your meditation, that, hey, this might happen to me again? I might, for no fault of my own, other than choosing a school and choosing a coach, first Notre Dame, then Vanderbilt, that you might be ready to go through this one more time looking for a school because the coach that is coaching you in college at Vanderbilt, Jerry Stackhouse, is about to get fired.
It caught me by surprise, honestly. I know that we kind of had like a rocky season, but I thought, coach and, the people in the office kind of had conversations of just maybe keeping him one more year to prove himself that, it was just a one rocky season and it won't happen again. But he kind of broke the news to me, privately and just saying like, hey, like this is what's happening. I'm gonna, part ways with Vanderbilt. I didn't want this to happen, but we just had, came to an agreement to where, I will have to go somewhere else. And I was pretty frustrated. I obviously asked questions because our relationship was really close and just like why are we doing this? Why can't I give you more of a chance? But he really truly believed in me and knowing that no matter what the situation is, like he believes I'm continue to strive and continue to, don't put my head down for any of these situations. Just know that, you're a very great basketball player, very great competitor to where you can fit into whatever situation that, God placed you in. And then that really spoke out to me and just the man who he is and just knowing that he really wanted to work with me and knowing that he still provided, some motivation, some support, and just knowing that no matter where he's at or no matter where he end up at and no matter where I end up at, he will always continue to be in contact with me and just making sure that I'm in a great place and great position. And that's where it kind of fall to me to where now I gotta make the decision again whether to stay or to leave. And again, it was just more of a frustrating and overwhelming moment of me trying to finish out my spring semester and just trying to do well in the classroom, and also trying to continue to keep my body healthy, develop myself, and now have more conversations on what, the future will look like. And that's something that was stressful for me because I didn't know what the future looked like, and it made me just challenge my faith more, and just knowing that, hey, everything's gonna be all right. Everything happens for a reason, and no, I know it may not feel too good right now, but later on, you'll find joy at the end.
When people look at your background and see that you've gone from Orlando Christian Prep to Notre Dame and then to Vanderbilt, and now you're looking for a third school in 3 years, they might make a lot of assumptions. But at this point, I got to tell you, it's amazing that you are as positive at this point as you are. But I have to go back. I expect the coaches to be there for you because that's who you see every day.
Hmm.
What was the role of the administrator, the athletics director, the sport oversights, different people in the athletics department, not part of the basketball coaching staffs at Notre Dame and Vanderbilt, in helping you find your way, either try to help you stay on campus at either South Bend or there in Nashville, or to help you find a new place? How involved were the administrators in your process, Ben?
Yeah, they did their job in, reaching out to me and wanted to hold meetings. It was one on one, or maybe just like a small group of them, and just meeting each and one of the players. But from my experience, it was, they were trying to figure out like what type of coach are you looking for to come in the program? Like what were something that uh, drove you to come to Vanderbilt, come to Notre Dame, so we can try to find a coach which is similar to, your values, your goals, or the reason why you came to this program. And they continue to have conversations with me, trying to figure out what I'm looking for, what I'm looking towards, and what they're looking towards, to see if it can help align, and try to see any candidates that aligns with those goals and those values. And I really appreciate them for including the players and myself in that decision, because they know that the players are really involved in, being coached by, whoever they bring in. And so they did their best, and I really appreciate them for doing that. And there was something within me that, I wanted it to work out, and somehow it just happens to be in a situation where, hey, if I can come back, I can. But if not, I want to be able to explore my options and my opportunity that's out there for me to be able to be a best fit for me again, and what's best for my future.
So at this point, you're looking at Mark Byington coming into Vanderbilt. Okay. So you don't have a relationship with him, and eventually you make the decision to leave Nashville and go to the University of North Carolina, the alma mater of your now former head coach there with the Commodores, Jerry Stackhouse. So you're coming to Chapel Hill. What was it that sold you on playing for Hubert Davis and the Tar Heels, as they were coming off what had to be a most disappointing season and being the preseason #1 team in the country, but failing to make the NCAA tournament?
It's just the history of the program, really. I was really shocked when I received that phone call from Coach Davis, and knowing that he was willing and offered me a scholarship to play for, UNC. And at this point, like my mind is just focused on the basketball aspect of it, because I know my academics were already taken care of. I know I'll continue to work at, in the classroom, continue to be disciplined and hold myself accountable, to hold myself to a standard I always held myself to. And now it's just more of the business of basketball. What's going to help me be in a position to, continue to stay at a program, or maybe leave that program that next year after having a really, explosive season. And that's something where I had that conversation, and brought in my high school coach, Coach Treig, into this conversation, and to this decision, because he's very knowledgeable of the, sports business and what to look for. And that's where our approach was, to the decision was, we know what to look for. We don't need to hear, all the goods and, the bad. You kind of know, you know, just the specific, being direct and what we're looking for, and just see what it fits. And honestly, get a call from UNC, it was kind of very shocking, and sort of a no brainer, of just knowing that they have produced, high level athletes and players in their programs is to be able to play at the next level and sustain a very good, successful career in a pro. And that's something that I always wanted. And to be able to play for them was a great opportunity to do that for myself.